Hello everyone, hello Catholic Youth of Lagos Archdiocese, hello Catholic Youth of Maryland Dineri. Welcome to our first ever podcast, and the theme is Beyond the Ordinary. I have with me distinguished guests and interesting persons who are going to be jumping on the topic today. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Sandy Egware, Dineri Chairman. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. We appreciate your presence. Thank you for honoring our invitation.
Thank you.
I also have with me Mr. Aloysius Okoro, the Maryland Dineri Coordinator. Thank you, Mr. Yes. So we'll be jumping on the topic. And this topic is an interesting one because a lot of youth has come out to say the church is not, appreciative of their creativity in the church. So the topic for today is why do some youth feel comfortable outside the church? So to jump on it and to unpack, the beautiful ideas we have about this topic, I'll begin straight to ask Mr. Stanley a question. So I would like to ask, is it true that the church does not support the creativity of the Catholic youth?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Overall, I would say that it is not true, not totally true, that the church do not support and appreciate the creativity of our youth. To begin with, the youth is a crucial segment of our Catholic population and would not undermine or underestimate their value and input to the growth of the church. The church, from time immemorial, has always recognized and given a pride of place to the youth, knowing that the youth is the future of the church. Now, coming to the question, whether the church supports and appreciates the creativity of youth. Even from my experience as a Latin Lady chairman, we always give attention to the youth in recognition of their special talents and creativity. I have come to realize on many occasions where youths have been given assignments that we give them an opportunity to showcase their creativity, and they've done excellently well. So it is not correct to say that the church do not support and appreciate the creativity of youth. I want to give a very practical illustration of how the church has supported and appreciated the creativity of the youth. If you remember, there is a center at Ogudu, just by opposite the Sacred Heart Catholic Church, Center for Media Development. In that place, that is where you have different instruments where youths are usually sent to. I remember when Father Sebastian Ngene was the parish priest of St. Michael Catholic Church. He used to send youths there for training, for development. But after some of these youths have been trained, funny enough, they still go outside the church and display their talents. And when it is time to even engage them in the church, to use those same talents that the church has helped them to acquire, they will be asking for money. So you see, it's a two-way thing. Sometimes the church also feels that the youth who have been trained want to commercialize their creativity, whereas they are supposed to give it to the church, in form of a charity. But that's just to downplay, an aspect of the question. The truth of the matter is that the church recognizes, the church appreciates, and the church supports creativity of youth. Because without the creativity of the youth, the church will remain stagnant. The church will not grow. The church will not be able to fulfill her mission of propagating the faith to all the nooks and crannies of the earth, which is the core mandate from Christ when he said, "Go into the world and proclaim the gospel, baptizing all in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit." So I want to say that the youths are recognized, and we appreciate their creativity, and we are calling on them to do more. They should not feel like they do not belong to the church. They should not feel that they have more to gain outside. They should contribute their own quota. They should disregard this sentiment of feeling like they are not appreciated enough, and know that the more they work for the church, the more they will be blessed, and the more they will become more creative, and even outside the church, they will reap their fruit. So I like to stop there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. But I would like to ask a question from some of the things you said. You mentioned that the church has obviously appreciates the youth and their creativity, but there's a but based on what you said, that the youth expect that the church give them some form of compensation when they bring their creativity to the church. Don't you think that might be one of the reasons why the youth do not stay in the church? They prefer to go outside than to bring all of those their talents in church, because at the end of the day, people still need to feed themselves and they have bills to pay. So what do you have to say about that?
Okay, yes, that's very true, because the society is evolving. The youth are beginning to have more responsibilities. Before now, we used to see youth as the segment that is dependent on their parents. But with the way society has evolved, a lot of youths now take more of this responsibility. You will come to see that some youths are the ones even, who are the breadwinners in their homes. So some of those youths also expect that there should be some level of compensation when their talents are deployed for the growth of the church. So it's a two-way thing. Some of these things can be worked out by constant engagement with the leadership of the church, and that's why we have the leadership of the youth. We always encourage them to reach out to the church. If the church is calling on them to deploy their members to do certain tasks that will require, financial resources, they should be outspoken about it. They should not keep it. Sometimes what happens is that they expect that they should be remunerated, but they do not come forward with it without demand to say, okay, this kind of job, we will need some kind of financial support to be able to do it. They should not be silent about it. There is no say in expressing how you feel. Or if you have certain expectations, there is nothing wrong, telling people, okay, this is what we expect that we should have. So at the end of the day, there is an engagement, and I'm sure the church will do her part. Once the church realizes that, okay, this particular need is special and it should be paid for, I'm sure the church will pay for it. Sometimes when church engages professionals outside the church to do certain things for the church, they are paid. So I don't see any reason why, if youths are deployed in certain special categories that require the deployment of their special needs, their special resources, their special talents, why the church should not pay for it. So, but my point is that there should be an effective communication.
There should be a conversation.
Conversation around it, so that the expectations can be met. They should not just keep it within them. Then at the end of the day, they will begin to feel disgruntled, disillusioned, disaffected that the church has used them, the church is not supporting them. They should come forward with their demands, and the church will come into an understanding with them, and everybody will be happy at the end of the day, and the church will be better for it.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
So, Mr. Lawyer, I would like to ask you, as a youth coordinator, do you think the church is really engaging the youth?
Okay.
To the best of your knowledge.
Thank you very much for that particular question. I think the church is doing all that the church can do in engaging the youth. Some of the problem can just be, number one, there might not be proper dissemination of information, of this information. Some people are not aware of these things because they made themselves just come to church on Sunday and just leave. The Catholic Church is structured in a way whereby for you to get some of this information, you have to belong to groups. You have to belong to organizations, societies. And this information are easily being disseminated through those societies and organizations. The Catholic Church is so big and so wide that for them to keep track of every of their members, they have to keep track through various organizations and societies. So the church in her own way also developed the youths, but it's just that many persons are not privileged to that information because they distance themselves from belonging to societies and organizations in the Catholic Church. So if the youths can be more open to attending programs that the church is bringing out, I think it will be better for them and it will be better for us as well. Sometimes even in our platform we put out programs that will help the youths, but the zeal or ability to come out and just start from somewhere to take part in that particular program is also a challenge for some of our youths. So for development, you yourself have to be the first frontier in development. So when you are out there, you can now get this information and you help develop yourself.
So indirectly, you are blaming the youths for not probably voicing out.
I'm not totally blaming the youth. I'm saying they need to be available to get that information. It's an information thing. If you are not privileged to get that information, I don't think it will be useful to you. So the information is out there, but it is not properly disseminated to them. So they should make themselves available to get this information. I am a perfect example. At least I'm still a serving member of the Catholic Youth, and I'm a coordinator. So at least I have to make myself available. If I start mentioning a lot of things that the church has, that I have benefited from the church, I don't think we'll live here today. Because as a member of the youth or as a coordinator, you have opportunity to meet people, you have opportunity to express yourself, you have opportunity to even speak in public, and those things help build yourself, even build your confidence to see that you get better in life. So I just think that youth just have to put in more efforts to get those information, you understand, so that they can develop themselves. That's just it.
Okay, that's very interesting. Mr. Stanley, I would like to ask, do you think there's anything the church can do differently to probably try to, bring this youth on board and make them feel more relaxed and not, to be grumbling that the church is not supporting them? Do you think there's something that the church itself now can do to bring these people on board?
Okay, yeah, thank you. So let me borrow a leaf from what the coordinator of the youth has said, coordinator in sMaryland. So it's a two-way thing. The first thing is the youth need to come up with an action plan on how they want the church to come in and support them. You see, the youth, they belong to the jet age. They are the ones that know the dynamics of modern society. They are the ones that know how the church can support them so that they can become more involved. The church is a bit conservative, right? So the church needs to be approached with an action plan that the church can now discuss with them and say, okay, how do we run with this? Now, there are a lot of initiatives at the moment that the youth can come up with that will require the support of the church. If the youth do not present those initiatives, the church may not probably be aware that the youth can be supported in this manner and it will be beneficial to them. Because the truth of the matter is that if the youth of a parish, for instance, is properly developed, it will be to the greater advantage of the church. So that's one way. Another way is for the church to continue to engage with the youth, to know what their specific needs are. Sometimes, the youth may just feel sidelined because they are not involved in the core administration of the parish. So they just expect that the church should know what they want or how they feel. So sometimes if the church notices that the youth are not forthcoming with their plans, there's nothing stopping the leadership of the youth of the church to engage the youth to say, okay, yes, today we're even having an open forum. Tell us your needs. How do you think that the church can, come in and assist you? What are your programs for the year? And in which way can the church come in and support you? So that's how I think.
Thank you very much, our distinguished speakers, for all that you said. But we have to go out there to hear what the youth are saying. So we'll have to take a break and we'll be right back.
Well, it depends on the youths anyway, feeling comfortable outside the church because perhaps they don't get involved in the doctrines of the church. Some youths come to the church and as soon as they close the mass, they go back home without joining societies that will make them understand what the Bible says and what the doctrine of the church says. Basically, that's what I feel makes most of them feel comfortable, because by the time they go outside and listen to what is happening outside without reflecting, because they don't have the in-depth knowledge of what the church doctrine is all about, they feel comfortable with what they hear outside rather than what they should have been imbibed through the societies and the teachings of the church and the doctrine. That is basically what I feel is it.
I feel like they are more free out there, because I think inside church they are more what do I say? They hold them into cage, like they don't allow them to freestyle themselves, like to show what the kind of things they have inside them. So being like the old parents we have doesn't see the potential as in youth. That's why the youth are being caged now in church. To compare other church, especially in Catholic church, the church belongs to the youth now. If you ask me, leave the church, both the everything, let them control it.
Depend on the personal needs. Many guys will choose to live the wayward life. Some belong to church.
So I feel they feel more appreciated outside the church. So they go to churches where people support what they're doing. So at the end of the day, they feel, okay, I'm being seen here. So probably that's why they leave.
I think it's because of the reverence they have for God, respect for the space of worship. They don't want to disrespect the person of God, because it's not everything, it's just like your parents, it's not everything you can do in front of your parents. I think the church on its own part is doing their best to support the youth.
Outside, within the church, sometimes youth tend to feel like, oh, what am I doing? Is it right? There are so many principles, there are so many doctrines, there are so many do this, don't do that. But outside the church, they just feel more free, basically. That freedom comes outside the church.
Because many of them, they don't like to serve God. They like worldly things more than God things. That's why some of them, they feel comfortable more than the church. They feel comfortable outside more than the church.
Because to be fair, the church has provided a platform, which is Sion, under the umbrella body for the youth. But at the end of the day, it's not just about providing a platform. After providing the platform, letting the youths grow and groom themselves, how do you support what they do, their businesses, their dreams and all? So that's what our other brethren used to lure our youths out. They'll tell them, because basically you come here, you come to the church, you drum 2 masses, you go home, you play the keyboard, you go home. But when you go to another church and do that, you're paid for that. By the end of the day, we now have to find the balance and know, okay, yes, as the youths, we're here because we're not here for the financial gain. Most of the people here, we're here because this is what we want to do. By the end of the day, those little things are what are dragging people away.
They can also provide a forum or a medium of more extracurricular learning, because basically school is not really for everybody. So providing a forum for extracurricular activities like learning a skill, not really the basic skills, something like coding and the likes, it can help enhance some people, and those things can actually be a source of living for them in life someday.
I feel that the church supports them well, because anytime they come to ask for support, we the church give them support.
It's a matter of appreciation, because apart from the little things, once in a while you have businesses, you have contracts, you have things that these youths, they have the talent. First sort for them from here before you go outside. Once you can do that and you support them, they're going nowhere.
Welcome back. So we've heard what youth have to say. Some of them are not happy and do not agree with what our guests have said so far. So I'd like to ask Mr. Stanley once again, you've heard what the youth are saying on the streets. What do you have to say about it? Do you think that the youth is right, that the church also needs to pay them some form of compensation for their talent and hard work?
Yeah, very true. And the truth of the matter is this: the youth have rights to expectations, and the church must acknowledge that. The one way to look at this is this: what the church expects from the youth, first and foremost, is that those who have been trained should also begin to train others in the parish. So that way, the talents can be spread, can be shared. Then beyond that, whenever the youth, those who have been trained, who have acquired certain special skills, are required by the church to deploy some of these skills, the church would also be under an obligation to pay some kind of stipends, not totally commensurate with what they will be expecting to receive out there, but at least something to appreciate them for what they've done. There's nothing wrong about that. That's the truth, because if they were not available to go for the training in the first place, the church will not be expecting a free service from them. So I agree that some form of compensation should be paid. But more importantly, those youths who have been trained should not hoard the knowledge. They should engage with the church so that the church can create a platform so that they too can become trainers, so that others can benefit, acquire the same skill, and that way more people will have creative skills. The church will not even need to go back to the first trainers to come and deploy those services for free. The church will now engage those who have been trained by the trainers for whatever services they may need, while they go out there and they commercialize whatever training that they acquire.
Okay, let me come in here. Barrister Stanley has said quite a lot of things, because let me use communication as an example now. The church sends you out to go and get a skill, you get your skill. Sometimes even the youth are even scared of even expressing themselves, like, okay, this particular skill, for us to do this thing now, is there anything you can even give to us? Sometimes they will just hold back and maybe grumble that, as Mr. Sally has rightly said, that the expectation is not being communicated. So for me, I have some certain skill that if the church wants to get from me, you will pay for that particular service. For example, now, there are things I give for pro bono for the church. There are things I do for the church that will be on pro bono, that will be on a discount this thing. And there are things that you will have to pay fully for it. I think youth need to be more expressive in a very respectful way, because this is the church, and the church is the church. With you, without you, the church will still stand. Thank you.
Yes, we've heard from our guest speakers. Youth, let's try to express ourselves. Let's not hold whatever we are feeling inside of us. Look for avenues to reach out to a parish priest and tell them what AYD 2026.
It's Maryland.
Keep up with us as we bring you interesting episodes on our podcast, Beyond the Ordinary. Stay tuned and do not forget to join the next episode.